They thought they had all the answers. The murder, the husband, the motive. But a single frame of video, a woman wearing Hannah's engagement ring, and a line that read, "She's not who you think she was," shattered everything they believed. For nearly a year, investigators hunted Michael Reynolds, the husband who vanished after his wife's death. But when he finally resurfaced, he wasn't alone. And what detectives uncovered next would change everything they thought they knew about love, lies, and the truth they tried to bury. This is Voice of Crimes, and today we uncover the truth they tried to bury. Part 2. Previously, in the case of Hannah and Michael Reynolds, the couple everyone envied, Hannah, a gifted designer, was found dead at the bottom of her staircase. The scene looked staged. The husband, Michael, disappeared. Months later, investigators found his abandoned car in rural Tennessee. Inside, his passport, his clothes, and a photo of Hannah folded in half. Then came the notebook, the burned cabin in Georgia, and the haunting message carved into the wall. "She made me do it." But the story didn't end there. Detectives uncovered a corrupted USB drive buried in a forest, containing fragments of Michael's recordings, his own version of events. And in the final seconds of one file, Hannah appeared frightened. Behind her, blurred but visible, was Michael, holding something metallic. The timestamp, 9:06 p.m., October 14th, 6 minutes before she died. But the most disturbing twist came months later, when surveillance footage showed a woman sitting across from Michael at a diner, wearing Hannah's ring. Detective Sarah Green and her team at the Georgia Bureau of Investigation reopened the case files, focusing on one key question: who was the woman with Michael? The video was grainy, the woman's face partially hidden by a hood. But after enhancing the footage, facial mapping software identified a 78% match. Her name was Lena Matthews, a 31-year-old former architect who worked under Michael at his firm in Atlanta. Lena had gone missing 6 months before Hannah's death. No police report had ever been filed. No family stepped forward. It was as though she had simply vanished. Investigators began connecting dots. Lena's credit card had been used in a motel 2 days before Hannah was killed. The same motel where, months later, Michael's notebook was found. What had started as a murder case was becoming something darker. A web of manipulation, obsession, and deceit. Lena and Michael's professional relationship had crossed boundaries long before Hannah's death. Emails recovered from the firm's server revealed an affair. Passionate at first, then erratic and volatile. In one message, Lena wrote, "You said you'd leave her. Why haven't you?" To which Michael replied, "She's already gone. She just doesn't know it yet." That email was sent 2 weeks before Hannah died. Detectives theorized that Lena may have been both accomplice and victim, pulled into Michael's psychological spiral and used to execute his plan. But when they tracked Lena's financial activity, something didn't add up. After Hannah's death, her accounts showed regular deposits, all in cash. One transaction even traced back to an ATM less than a mile from where Michael's car was abandoned. Someone was helping him, and it wasn't random. The FBI's digital forensics team finally decrypted the remaining data from the corrupted USB. Among the recovered files was a video that investigators had never seen before. The footage showed Hannah sitting on her living room sofa. She looked distressed, eyes red from crying. Off camera, a voice calm, composed, familiar, asked, "Do you understand why this had to happen?" Hannah shook her head. "Michael, please stop filming this." But the chilling part wasn't Michael's voice. There was another woman speaking softly in the background. "Just say you forgive him, Hannah. It's easier that way." Investigators froze. The voice matched Lena Matthews. This video, recorded just days before Hannah's death, placed both Michael and Lena in the same room. And then, the footage cut to black. Metadata from the video revealed hidden GPS coordinates. The location pointed to a self-storage facility outside Asheville, North Carolina. When detectives searched unit #27B, what they found looked like a scene from a psychological thriller. Old photographs of Michael and Lena together, false IDs, a map of the Appalachian Trail marked with red circles. and a sealed envelope labeled, "The Truth They'll Never Find." Inside were handwritten letters addressed to Michael, signed Lena Matthews. In one, she wrote, "I did everything you asked, but I can't keep lying. If they find us, I'll tell them everything." The date on the letter, December 1st, 2023, the day before Michael was seen at the diner. Detectives now believed Lena was alive and still with Michael. But what they couldn't explain was the message in his final note. "She's not who you think she was." At first, they assumed Michael meant Lena. But when investigators reanalyzed the diner footage, they noticed something subtle. A small scar along the woman's left jawline. That same scar appeared in one of Hannah's childhood photos. DNA testing from the USB casing and the envelope revealed something shocking. Traces of two women, Lena Matthews and Hannah Reynolds. The case that once seemed clear had taken a terrifying turn. Was Hannah actually dead? Had Michael staged her murder? Or was Lena wearing her ring and her name to cover something much darker? Before federal agents could issue a new warrant, a video was uploaded to a dark web forum under the title, "You Missed the Point." The footage showed Michael sitting near a campfire, his face half-lit by the flames. "You think you found the truth," he said, "but you're still looking in the wrong place. She chose this, and you'll see why soon." In the background, barely audible, was a woman's laughter. The video ended with coordinates, the same ones pointing to a rural area near the Georgia-North Carolina border. When officers arrived the next morning, there was nothing. No campsite, no trace, just a single word carved into a tree trunk. "Forgiven." Detective Green's voice echoes in the final narration. "I've been doing this 20 years. I've seen killers, liars, manipulators. But this case, it's different. Every truth we uncover leads to another lie. And I'm starting to think the real story hasn't even begun." Michael Reynolds remains on the FBI's most wanted list. Lena Matthews, or whoever she has become, is still missing. But with new DNA evidence, a hidden recording, and whispers of a second body buried deep in Pisgah Forest, one thing is certain: this case is far from over. Because sometimes, the narrator says, the truth isn't buried in the ground. It's buried in the people we trust. For over a year, the world believed Hannah Reynolds was gone. Her husband, Michael, the man once called the perfect husband, became a fugitive, leaving behind a trail of cryptic notes, hidden videos, and one haunting question. Was Hannah really dead? Now, after 18 months of silence, investigators have found something that changes everything. A confession that doesn't just expose the truth, it rewrites the entire story. This is Voice of Crimes, and tonight, we uncover the final confession. Last time, detectives decrypted the corrupted USB found in a forest outside Asheville. It revealed footage of Hannah, terrified, pleading for her life, and a mysterious second voice belonging to Lena Matthews, Michael's missing colleague and suspected accomplice. That discovery led to a storage unit filled with evidence. Photos, false IDs, and handwritten letters signed LM. But the real shock came from DNA, belonging to both Lena and Hannah. Then came the diner footage, Michael alive, sitting across from a woman wearing Hannah's engagement ring. A woman who looked eerily familiar. When police searched the coordinates left in Michael's final video, all they found was a single word carved into a tree: forgiven. But 2 weeks later, a new message surfaced, one that would finally bring the truth to light. It began with an email sent anonymously to the Georgia Bureau of Investigation. The subject line, "You're not done." Attached was a 42-second audio clip. The voice was unmistakable. It was Hannah. "If anyone hears this," she said, her voice trembling, "I didn't die that night. I ran. He made me." Investigators were stunned. Could it really be her? The audio metadata traced to a public library computer in Greenville, South Carolina. Detectives rushed there, but by the time they arrived, the computer had been wiped clean. Still, something was clear. Someone had recorded that message recently, and if Hannah was alive, that meant everything they thought they knew about Michael and Lena was about to collapse. FBI agents reanalyzed old surveillance footage from the Asheville diner. Using AI-based facial reconstruction, they confirmed it. The woman with Michael wasn't Lena. It was Hannah. She was alive and had been with him all along. Investigators scrambled to piece together how. The original autopsy, performed in October 2022, had identified the body as Hannah's based on jewelry and superficial facial features. But the body had been burned and decomposed beyond standard testing. The fingerprints were partial. The DNA sample had degraded due to contamination at the crime scene. In other words, the body wasn't conclusively Hannah's. And now it appeared Michael had planned it that way. A new search warrant led investigators to a small lakeside cabin just 10 miles outside Greenville. Inside, they found 2 toothbrushes, women's clothing, and a stack of recorded tapes labeled simply H. On the first tape, Hannah's voice is clear. He said he could fix everything, that no one would believe me anyway, that if I just helped him disappear, we could start over. In another tape, Michael speaks. We had to leave it behind. The fights, the cameras, the lies. The only way out was to kill what they thought we were. Michael and Hannah had staged her death. But as detectives continued listening, the tone of the recordings shifted, from love to paranoia, and then to fear. In the final tape, Hannah whispers, "He's not the man I thought he was. If you find this, I need you to know he's gone too far." Weeks later, authorities received another anonymous tip. It led them to an abandoned farmhouse on the outskirts of North Carolina. Inside was a table, a camera, and a single SD card. On it, a final video. Michael sits in front of the camera, pale, exhausted, his hands shaking. "You've been chasing me for months," he says. "But you were never chasing a killer. You were chasing the wrong story." He exhales slowly. "Hannah didn't die. We planned it together. She wanted out of the lies, out of the company, out of me. But she was never innocent. She wanted to start over with someone else. When I found out, I couldn't let her go." He pauses, staring into the lens. "So I helped her disappear. Then she helped me. But when I realized she never planned to stay with me, it was too late." He lowers his head, his voice trembling. "I buried the wrong woman. Lena found out what we did, and I couldn't let her talk." A silence lingers, the kind that chills the room. Then he looks up again, his expression hollow. "You want the truth? I gave her what she wanted, freedom. But you'll never find her, because she's not running anymore. She's watching." The video ends. Authorities returned to the lake cabin where Hannah's voice had been recorded. On the kitchen table, they found a small box containing a wedding photo, torn perfectly down the middle. One half showed Hannah smiling. The other half, Michael, burned and scorched. Inside the box was a note. He wasn't lying, but he didn't tell the whole truth either. The DNA on the note, Hannah's, and beneath the box, scratched faintly into the wood, the same word Michael carved into the tree months earlier. Forgiven. Investigators believe Hannah fled again, this time alone, and that she may still be living under a new identity. The FBI officially closed Michael's file 6 weeks later after finding his remains in the woods behind the farmhouse. He had taken his own life, but Hannah Reynolds, or whoever she has become, has never been found. They were the couple everyone envied, perfect, successful, in love. But behind every picture, behind every post, there was a story no one saw coming. A story about obsession disguised as devotion, and a love so toxic, it destroyed everything in its path. In the end, no one truly knew who was the victim or who was the villain. Maybe both. And as for Hannah Reynolds, her story has become a ghost of its own, whispered about, never proven, forever unsolved. Because sometimes the truth doesn't set you free, it follows you. This case shows just how dark and unpredictable people can be. It's been nearly 6 months since Michael Reynolds' final confession surfaced from the woods of Pisgah Forest. Authorities closed the case. Files were sealed. The world moved on. But here at Voice of Crimes, we never did. Because every few weeks, an anonymous email arrives in our inbox. No message, no name, just a single image. Each one shows a figure, distant, blurred, dressed in red. And the most recent one was taken just a few miles from where Hannah Reynolds was buried. because sometimes the story doesn't end when the case does. To understand what's happening now, we have to look back at the case that left everyone questioning what was real and what was fabricated. The couple everyone envied, Hannah and Michael Reynolds. Her body found at the bottom of a staircase. His sudden disappearance. Then, his confessions from the forest, and the mysterious involvement of a second woman, Lena Matthews. When investigators discovered the voice recordings, it changed everything. Michael admitted to staging Hannah's death, working with Lena to fake the murder for insurance and debt. But things spiraled. By the time police found the evidence in Pisgah Forest, both Michael and Lena were gone. And then came his final words. "She's not who you think she is." No one ever confirmed Hannah's body through DNA. The only proof of her death was Michael's word. In May 2024, Voice of Crimes received the first email. No subject line, no text, just an attachment. The image showed a dense forest clearing at dusk, a faint silhouette of a woman standing at the tree line, wearing a red coat. Her face was blurred by motion. At first, it seemed like fan art, someone inspired by the case. But when metadata from the photo was analyzed, our producers discovered something chilling. The file contained embedded coordinates, the same area where producers discovered something chilling. The file contained embedded coordinates, the same area where Michael's final recording was found. A month later, another email arrived. This time, the photo was taken closer. The woman's outline was sharper, and this time, a small silver glint on her hand, a ring. Hannah's engagement ring. When we forwarded the images to the FBI, they initially dismissed them as manipulated. But then, digital analysts uncovered something undeniable. Each image was taken on a different device, across multiple states. North Carolina, Tennessee, and Georgia. It was as if someone was following this woman, or she was leading them somewhere. The team reassembled under Detective Sarah Green, who had vowed never to reopen the Reynolds case. But the emails changed her mind. "If this is Hannah," Green said, "then the biggest lie of all wasn't Michael's. It was hers." Investigators followed the latest coordinates to an abandoned diner off Highway 19. Inside, graffiti covered the walls. But one word stood out, written in red paint above a cracked mirror. "Remember," and beneath it a single fingerprint, identified as Lena Matthews. 3 weeks later, surveillance footage from a rest stop in Asheville revealed something extraordinary. A woman, around 30 to 35, long dark hair, wearing a red coat, stopping briefly to buy water. She avoided security cameras, kept her head down, and never spoke a word. But one frame caught her reflection in the glass refrigerator door, clear enough for partial facial recognition. The result: 92% match, Hannah Reynolds. Detective Green was stunned. "It's impossible," she said. "We buried her." The video went public on a Reddit true crime thread and was viewed more than 2 million times before being removed by authorities. The next day, another anonymous email appeared, containing only one line. "You're finally paying attention." At this point, the case took a psychological turn. Experts began to theorize that Hannah had staged her own death, possibly with Michael's help, possibly against his will. The motive? Revenge. Financial records revealed that months before her death, Hannah had quietly withdrawn over $60,000 from her joint accounts and opened an offshore identity under the alias Anna Reese. Lena's name was listed as an emergency contact. It appeared that all three, Hannah, Michael, and Lena, had been entangled in a twisted plan that backfired. Michael confessed to a murder that may have never happened. Lena vanished, and now the woman in red walked free. In August 2024, Voice of Crimes received a voicemail from an untraceable number. The message lasted only 6 seconds. "You're looking in the wrong direction." A faint sound played in the background, the same rhythmic click from Michael's final confession recording. Forensic audio experts concluded it was the sound of a train crossing signal, one located in northern Georgia, near the Tennessee border. When investigators arrived, they found an abandoned rail cabin. Inside, ashes in a small fire pit, a coffee mug, and a folded red coat. Pinned to it was a note: "Stop digging. Let the dead stay dead. DNA swabs confirmed traces from all three: Michael, Lena, and Hannah. Detective Green's voice in the document's closing sequence sounds more defeated than ever. We don't know who's alive, who's dead, or if this was all part of something bigger. All I know is, every time we think it's over, someone sends another photo. For nearly 3 years, the case of Hannah and Michael Reynolds has haunted investigators, journalists, and viewers around the world. But the emails, the images, the sightings of the woman in red, they were never random. They were a trail. And now, that trail has led somewhere no one expected. This is Voice of Crimes. And this is the final chapter. Let's go back to where this story began. A marriage that looked perfect from the outside. A murder that shocked a neighborhood. A confession that raised more questions than answers. Michael Reynolds vanished after his wife's supposed death. Then came his confessions from the woods, admitting guilt, but hinting Hannah wasn't truly gone. Months later, the mysterious woman in red appeared, first in photos, then in security footage, and finally, in the emails sent directly to Voice of Crimes. Each message was a puzzle piece, and when investigators finally followed the last coordinate embedded in one of those images, it led them to a place none of them could have predicted. A small, forgotten cabin, deep in the Tennessee wilderness. The FBI, joined by Detective Sarah Green, reached the cabin at sunrise. Outside, time had erased most signs of life. Overgrown weeds, collapsed porch steps, the smell of damp wood. But inside, the scene was unsettling. On the walls hung dozens of photographs, printed from the very same images sent to Voice of Crimes, each one featuring the woman in red. Her face was never fully visible, until now. Pinned at the center of the wall was a final image, clear, sharp, undeniable. It was Hannah Reynolds, her expression calm, her eyes steady, her red coat immaculate, and on the table beneath it, a voice recorder. When agents pressed play, they heard her voice for the first time in over 2 years. You think you know what happened. You've built your stories, your documentaries, your theories, but you never asked why. Michael didn't kill me. He tried to save me. The tape lasted nearly an hour. Hannah explained that in 2022, she discovered Michael's affair with Lena and the financial crimes that tied them all together. But instead of leaving him, she began working with Lena to expose him. We thought we could catch him, record everything, bring it to the police. But Michael found out. That night, the night she died, wasn't a fight. It was a confrontation. He tried to take my phone. I ran. He pushed me. I fell. But I wasn't dead. Lena helped her escape. They staged the scene, using an unclaimed body from a medical facility to fake her death. It wasn't about money anymore, Hannah said. It was about freedom. But freedom came with a price. Lena was supposed to disappear with me, but Michael found her first. He begged me to come back, said we could fix it, but I couldn't. Not after what he did. Then her tone changed, colder. So I watched. I followed. I sent the photos. I wanted them to remember what he did. I wanted the world to remember me. The confession raised even darker questions. Investigators compared timestamps on Hannah's photos with known sightings of Michael and found something chilling. One image taken of the woman in red in February 2024 showed her shadow overlapping another, a man's silhouette. It matched Michael Reynolds' profile exactly. But that was impossible. Michael was presumed dead after the forest discovery. Then came the final seconds of the recording, a portion the FBI initially redacted. If you're hearing this, Hannah said softly, you found what I left behind, but you didn't find him. He's still here. A faint sound followed footsteps. A door creaked. Then Hannah's voice, whispering one last line. We buried the truth together. The recorder clicked off. Investigators excavated the area behind the cabin. A few feet beneath the soil, they discovered 2 sets of remains. One male, one female. Dental records confirmed the male as Michael Reynolds. The second body, however, was too damaged for immediate identification. But a small object found beside it told its own story. a silver ring engraved M+H. The very same ring seen on the woman in red's hand. DNA testing confirmed what no one wanted to believe. The second body was Hannah Reynolds. Detective Green stood silently as forensic teams packed up the site. "For 2 years, she haunted us," she said. "Turns out, she was haunting herself." The FBI concluded that after sending her final messages, Hannah returned to the cabin, where Michael's body had already been hidden, and ended her life. Her emails, images, and recordings had all been pre-scheduled. A final act of control, ensuring the world would keep looking for her long after she was gone. A haunting blend of guilt, trauma, and obsession, blurring the line between victim and perpetrator. As the camera pans over the forest, the narrator closes. The case of Hannah and Michael Reynolds reminds us, sometimes, love doesn't end in tragedy. It becomes it. This story may be over, but the truth was never meant to be found. Thank you for watching Voice of Crimes and following this case from the beginning. If this story gripped you, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for our next investigation. Because darkness never sleeps. Until next time, stay safe and stay curious.